For those, I think hopefully I've met most of you. If not, my name's Shannon Thomas. I'm the Executive Manager for the BIM-MEP Oz initiative at AMCA Australia. So today we're just going to be taking you on a bit of an update and a roadmap about the initiative, and really putting that into three kind of groups, I guess. And the first one, what's changed since the last forum? I guess with COVID, our last forum was in October 2020. We were hoping to run another one. Not aiming to run one each year, but a few curveballs were thrown at us, like most people, and we pushed it back to April. So there's a few things there for us to give you some updates on. The next part there is really what we're working on at the moment, and then a little bit about what the future holds for BIM-MEP Oz. Okay, so I guess really just before we get stuck into what we've achieved, I guess, since the last forum, we just really wanted to bring this point across, I guess, to the audience and the delegates here today, and I guess how we see ourselves at the moment. And we see ourselves as that consistency, that solution for modelling and asset information requirements, and that's something that's, I guess, been embedded in the initial concept of BIM-MEP Oz from the very beginning, and something that we'll continue to focus on. The other part to that is that it's really built on industry needs. We always like to say this initiative is by the industry for the industry. So in a sense, we at BIM-MEP Oz and AMCA are really custodians or facilitators. And that points to really the importance of having engagement and interaction with the industry, understanding the needs of the industry, and building that into the initiative and our specifications. So just a bit of an update on what's changed since the last forum, and I think you heard our CEO Scott Williams mention this morning that I guess at the end of 2020 we conducted a bit of an assessment and analysis of the initiative and how we were performing, and made it look. Long story short, we made a decision to bring the full management in-house under AMCA Australia, and manage the subscriptions internally, manage the content services internally, but starting to look at some partner networks or partner options to help support some of these things. So, that doesn't mean we do everything ourselves internally. It's just more, the overall management internally, which, was a nice change, and really sort of launched phase 2, as we like to say, for BIM-MEP Oz. So, that really kind of kicked off, I guess, at the start of April. But I guess the official launch was around mid-year. And you can see those two, the second and third point there. We were doing a lot of work in terms of creating a brand new website from scratch. Those of you who've used the website probably wouldn't see too much difference from the previous one, because there were some good things in there. But we just made it a bit more user friendly, and that it was combined with a launch of a brand new Revit template from scratch. And some of you may be aware of that already if you're using the template or attended our briefing in November. But the feedback on the template itself has been fantastic, and some really good content in the new one, and we'll show you a bit of a demonstration of that tomorrow in our technical session. So we're pretty proud of that, but at the same time too, we're definitely always open to feedback and always open to understanding what we can add, what we can improve. We know there's areas we need to include in future versions of the template. So that kind of coincided with the official launch of subscriptions from July. We kept the pressure on and did a major upgrade to the fabrication database or library of ITMs. So that was released around sort of late September, early October. As I said earlier, we ran that virtual briefing in November. So we've had a really busy time, last year, and pushing through COVID and sort of dealing with all those challenges. So, two other big kind of components of the initiative are really, the content strategy, certainly for manufacturers, and also the training strategy. So I'll talk about these a little bit later. So one of the things that we're certainly have been happy to see and happy to be part of is after bringing the initiative internally is being able to engage with the industry more and talking to each of our clients and customers and just understanding how the initiative can support their needs in terms of modelling and documentation and those sort of things as, I guess more and more organisations move into the BIM and digital engineering space. Again, there's this sort of back and forth connection because, a lot of these organisations certainly help us with the development. And then there's, I guess, this opportunity for BIM-MEP Oz then to push that back out and help others in the industry. So yeah, look, if you're working for one of these organisations and you see others on screen up here, I'd certainly encourage you to have a look at this. These are available on our website, and I guess the point here is really to say that there's opportunities for collaboration here and understanding how to work with each other on a consistency level. Something to think about. So if you're not having those conversations around consistent modelling, consistent documentation, and starting that conversation around BIM-MEP Oz, then I'd encourage you to do that. Some of these organisations you might just be, might be future part of future project teams. So again, certainly encourage an open mind about the opportunities for collaboration. And that word collaboration, we've heard it over and over again at other conferences and other forums, and certainly today again about the importance of that. John pointed out the importance of standards, consistency, and what that means to clients and owners. So I think, design and construct phase, it's certainly important to understand those needs as we all continue to look at that integrated project delivery approach. So certainly a big part of the initiative. So just moving to what we're working on now, I just thought I'd just quickly touch on our mission statement. Some of those key words there that are underlined, I've already mentioned, being industry-based and understanding industry workflows and incorporating that into what we do and what we develop, that consistent approach. And probably the other one really then just to point out lastly there is the supply chain integration. And again, coming around that concept of having everyone on board, giving us being able to facilitate the opportunity for consultants, contractors, manufacturers, software specialists in our workshops, in our work groups, being able to contribute to improve that supply chain integration. And then from there, really realising those efficiencies. So how we develop BIM-MEP Oz and continue to drive it forward, we kind of, I guess, position it into 4 core areas. That's around policy and advocacy, our technical development, I guess our products and services, and then training and education. There's other elements that we have as part of the I guess the strategy for BIM-MEP Oz, but all of those really support these 4 core items. So just looking at our policy and advocacy again, I think I've kind of spoken about this already. It's really around that consistency, that high quality and reliability that people using our methodologies can trust, and that's something that we're big on continuing to do and have been doing. And I think that's where you start to see that quality in the template, that quality in the fabrication database, and now I'll talk a little bit more about it, about how we're pushing that into the manufacturer content. We see BIM-MEP Oz, I guess, as a bit of a piece in the digital engineering puzzle, or the the whole industrialised construction conversation, and understanding the bigger picture. So for BIM-MEP Oz itself, understanding that consistent methodology is certainly an important thing, and hopefully, more and more people sort of understand that. It's something that we'll continue to promote, and hopefully, raise the awareness with the industry on as a really sort of what we consider the right way forward. I think the other thing there too is once you've sort of set up consistent methodologies and workflows in how you kind of conduct your modelling and documentation and all these sorts of things, and pushing that out down the line, is really understanding that long-lasting impact. Setting up consistency through your processes, your design and construct processes, really sort of sets you up long term. So just moving to the technical area is really focused on our product specification development program. Just quickly, what that means is, again, bringing industry together in work groups, focusing on particular products, understanding workflows that are important to the industry, and really then creating guidelines or specification documents. And then from there, once we've got that guidance from the industry captured, we'll then go out and develop and create, digitalize that effectively. So we'll go out and create the 3D objects and create the data sets that are applicable for industry to use. We've got that national consistent shared parameter schema. We've had that from the start. A lot of this stuff isn't new, but it is certainly worth bringing up again to say, look, this is the stuff that is core to BIM-MEP Oz, and a core to being able to support the industry. And that kind of flows into, I guess, a bit of an example here. So, those of you who'd be involved in, I guess, the design, installation, testing of fire dampers would know there's a fair bit of complexity around it at the moment. There's multiple standards that cover design, installation and testing, even servicing. They're all very, very comprehensive, very long-winded. So there's a lot of detail in there, and certainly with sort of fire resistance becoming more important. There's new rules and regulations coming out. They've actually just been delayed from 1st of May to 1st of September. The manufacturers will have their products and they want to get them through the testing authorities. They've got issues with delays on there, and then being able to get consistency in the test results, and also being able to test quite large or unique configurations of dampers. So there's a whole bunch of complexities there, that the industry are faced with at the moment. One of the things that I guess was being pointed out is that that supplier documentation lacks a little bit of a unified framework. That's where BIM-MEP Oz comes into it. So, what we're aiming to do after the forum is really re-engage and set up more of those workshops that we did in the past. And, again, just having those conversations, understanding those needs. This is going to be a very difficult one, a very complex one, but, BIM-MEP Oz, I guess that's one of the things that is core to the initiative, and that's, we enjoy doing and being able to then provide, that consistency back for more of the industry to use. So again, this is really, I guess this slide here just covers some of the things I've mentioned already, but just, going through the workshops and creating some options and solutions for the industry to use. The data sets themselves, there's a big opportunity there for, having consistent technical submissions and technical approval schedules there. I've been having some great conversations with engineers and the consultancies, and starting to have conversations around consistent technical approval schedules, and these are the sort of things that can be used long before the modelling has begun. So project teams can understand asset information requirements, define those, and then I guess propagate those through the design and build process. So, BIM-MEP Oz is not just focusing on that, I guess, that design area. It's also in that, having, data sets to support asset information requirements too. Just moving to products and services. So we've just released a new update on our template. So it was a minor update, a few filters to the schedules, and just a few minor little corrections. We had some feedback from the industry. Mostly graphical, so I think Christian's going to show us a little bit of the template tomorrow afternoon. We just, in line with the template, released an update to the shared parameter file, and I will move to the next slide and give you a bit of an update on what we've been doing with the manufacturer content. So I guess through the last few months, we've been looking at how does BIM-MEP Oz do a better job with supporting the manufacturers and the content strategies. So we sort of looked at three areas. One is really around, if the manufacturer has existing content. So as we deal and talk to the manufacturers, trying to understand what situation they're in. And the first one is understanding if they have existing content. Second one there is whether they have in-house content developers, and whether they don't have anything at all and they need new content developed. So, being able to categorise that has then allowed us to just, understand how we can support. So just to take you through a few examples where we've actually started doing this, Grundfos, I guess, is the first example. There's been a heap of families that have been added to the BIM-MEP Oz website for subscribers to access for Grundfos families. They had existing content, and they gave it to us. We had a look at it. We gave them some feedback on improving it. There's a little bit of that going on in terms of the geometry, but the other big part to that is we also gave them a standardised parameter data set. So we've said, look, BIM-MEP Oz has created a centrifugal pump specification. There's a consistent parameter set that goes with it that supports identity parameters, performance and quality, manufacturer-specific commissioning, and also completion and handover. So there's 5 distinct groups that form the parameter sets in all our product specifications. So we said to Grundfos, here's a CSV file, populate these data sets based on the variance of your particular products. And when we get that back, they'll tie in and align with the parameter sets in the schedules in the BIM-MEP Oz template. So a little bit technical there, but I guess the point there is we're working with the manufacturers who have existing content, helping them to update it to BIM-MEP Oz specifications, and it's really them being able to manage those data sets themselves. The second one there, where we've been just talking to Hilti, and we've got the images up on our website. So that Hilti have got some really good content there. We had a look at it and did a review, and it was, as I said, really high quality. We've just given them a little bit of feedback and asked them to add a few BIM-MEP Oz parameters in. They're doing that at the moment, and they've got the in-house capabilities to do that. And then once they've finished that, they'll send it back, and we'll publish that available for people to use. But again, I guess another flexible option in terms of how we're supporting the manufacturers. And then really the third one there is, I guess, using Masterflow as an example. So Masterflow, I guess, had some families, but they also needed some new families created. And we've just kicked off a pilot program with IGS. I know there's some guys here, Glenn's in the audience, and there's a few guys here from IGS today. And so we're in that initial pilot program, and so far, the feedback's been fantastic. So there's a bit of a program there to develop some new families. So once they're done, we're looking forward to publishing those. But again, those data sets will be all aligned to the BIM-MEP Oz specifications. Why is that important? Because it improves the efficiency. So the idea is that these objects can be dragged and dropped into your project with predefined parameters, where possible, pre-filled values, and then leaving you to do ideally less cleanup, less work in terms of just them being able to have conversations with engineers and modelers and being able to fill out other values where possible or where needed. And that's, I guess, part of the drive and strategy for manufacturer content. We just also completed another significant update to the fabrication library or content. So again, a few little minor corrections in there just based on some of the feedback from industry. Aluminium, so a big one with aluminium and stainless steel services now added. That is available on the website to download now. We're just a little bit behind on creating a list of what's been updated, but that'll happen early next week, so you can see exactly what we've changed. But it is available to download, like the template and the shared parameter file. So just coming to our training and education next, I think many of you may know we have an open position for a training consultant. But probably the thing to say here is really, in addition to that, we're actually doing a reassessment of our training and strategy and how we support the industry. So we're going to look at that framework over the next few months. I don't have anything too detailed to say today. But we've got some ideas which we're pretty excited about, and we'll make some announcements about that in the coming months. But I guess the one thing to say is, which we'll always hold close to that strategy, is that continued and consistent theme, like I've been saying, in engaging with the industry. and also understanding the needs of the industry and how the training strategy can support that with that high level of quality and pushing it out that way. So they're just, I guess, moving to the next option or next group is what the future holds for BIM-MEP Oz. I guess this is a little bit, a bit of a hybrid between what the future holds and maybe making some announcements, I guess. So the first one here, and we actually, with Mark, we had a question this morning about BIM-MEP Oz subscriptions being available outside Australia and New Zealand. So far we've only made it available to Australia and New Zealand. And that was really based on, because it's based on Australian and New Zealand standards and also local industry best practice. But we've had multiple questions and inquiries about access to the content globally. So yeah, we've now made that possible. We've just done a bit of an update to our inquiry process, so people globally will have the option to look at the sequence of steps to be able to access the content. So something that we've cleaned up as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how that progresses. The next one, I guess, announcement and something we are working on is around cloud-hosted content for BIM-MEP Oz. So we have kicked off discussions with Kinship, which is a cloud solution for Revit content management. They also have some project tracking and analytics. So we're pretty excited about this. It's very early days, and we'll have a little bit more to announce about this as it becomes available for BIM-MEP Oz subscribers. So, pardon me. So I think the thing here also to point out is the content will still be available through the BIM-MEP Oz website. So there'll be two options there. Being able to log into our website, download it, save it, and then insert it into your project, which, as I just explained, is a bit of a process. So the good thing about this cloud-hosted content solution with Kinship is its ability to have an add-in in Revit. So the modelers will be able to filter, search for objects and drag and drop them straight in. So quite an opportunity for saving time and improving efficiencies there. The next one here, which we're pretty excited about too, and we'll have a demonstration of this tomorrow afternoon. So BIM-MEP Oz, as I pointed out in probably one of the first couple of slides, is really around that consistent solution for modelling and asset information requirements. But I guess one of the gaps that BIM-MEP Oz had is, how do we cater to, builders and clients, and what do we need to, what is there an opportunity to help them with? And that's really around being able to validate the model and data at various milestones throughout the project. And just, I guess, through our conversations with Autodesk, and we'll hear a little bit more about the interoperability tools from Autodesk tomorrow afternoon, and being able to interrogate and validate model and data. So we've gone through and kicked off with some a little bit of programming, coding, and XML check sets to work with this particular tool based on BIM-MEP Oz data sets for each of the various products. And the good thing about this is you don't need to be a Revit user to be able to do this, but you will certainly looking forward to doing a demonstration of this tomorrow, and over time issuing, I guess, a release date. I guess this lastly, and wrapping up, we are also looking at ways to improve and increase our engagement with industry. So we are looking at an engagement portal, or community engagement portal. So we've sort of kicked off that project internally, and it'll take a little while, but I just wanted to make that announcement today, that this is something we're working on and something we're pretty excited about. And we want to always look at ways as to how we can improve and ensure more of that engagement. Coming back to that core theme around BIM-MEP Oz being by the industry for the industry. So we'll always hold that, front and centre. So look, that wraps up my presentation. Just want to say thank you again for all coming and listening. I'm going to leave it on the last slide. I'm not going to say anything because I'll probably get a bit emotional. But yeah, thanks. Thanks, everyone.